It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Proverbs 29 and verse 16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. That's the point. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Kol Haloyim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Rachago, that's Rakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth for faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land that other nations appearing like the other nations, but who subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And basically, I'm trying to do a quick lesson on an article I saw about France. France has been in another lockdown, but it's also not allowing certain people from certain countries to actually visit because, you got certain countries that are experiencing this variant. So, yeah, God. So bear with me for a second, which is an unrighteous decree, and also showing you you're not free. This is the book of, Salaki. This is out of ABC News. France restricting travel from 4 countries to curb variants. French President Emmanuel Macron says he foresees at least some tourists returning to Paris this summer if they have gotten vaccinated. That's the new whole little thing. You can travel here as long as you got the vaccination or have proof of testing negative for the CV as France moves to progressively lift infection control restrictions. We are building a certificate to facilitate travel after these restrictions between the different European countries with testing and vaccination, Macron said in an interview that aired Sunday on the CBS News show Face the Nation. Macron spoke as the French government is preparing to impose tough new entry restrictions on travelers from 4 countries, Argentina, Chile, South Africa, and Brazil, in hopes of keeping out especially contagious virus variants. The number of countries on the list could grow. France's foreign minister said Saturday the restrictions include mandatory 10-day quarantines with police checks to ensure people arriving in France observe the requirements. Wow. So they having police actually check on it. Travelers from all 4 countries will be restricted to French nationals and their families, EU citizens, and others with a permanent home in France. France previously suspended all flights from Brazil. The suspension will be lifted next Saturday after 10 days and the new restrictions progressively put in place by the governments. By then, the government said the flight suspension for Brazil will be lifted, followed by the drastic measures for entering France from all 4 countries, plus the French territory of Guyana. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said. Macron, summarizing the French approach, said the plan is to always control the virus, to maximize the vaccination, and to progressively lift the restriction. France has been among the hardest hit European countries and is now guarding against highly contagious variants, notably deciding to target 4 countries at present. The 4 countries are the most dangerous in terms of the number of variants that exist in the evolution of the pandemic. It says a variant in England spread to continental Europe and is now responsible for about 80% of the V cases in France, while the variants first seen in Brazil and South Africa make up less than 4%. I don't know where, because that's only, okay, so you got England, you got South Africa, and Brazil. So where's the other one? Oh, England, Europe. I guess England, Europe, Brazil, and South Africa. So when I read that, it made me think of a scripture. Because at the end of the day, well, you know what? I can get this because I just thought of another scripture, the book of Second Ezra, Second Ezra chapter 9. It's a go-to scripture when we speaking on these things because that's how you know what time you're in. If you watching the signs and the prophecies, and if you occupied in the meditations of this holy book. This is the book of Second Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the sign pass, which I have told thee before. Verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So we're seeing the beginning signs of the end. And one of the signs is prophecy. And it's a prophecy in the scriptures that talks about basically what Marcon just did. When a man desires to go into a city and you can't be able to. And basically, they're, restricting people from certain countries entering into that city. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. Meaning that's those race riots and race wars. You had the elder, what is his name, Amawan Abad. He was saying how, well, he didn't say anything. He posted a video. You had an Edomite. Basically, these Edomites is training in the woods. They are highly butthurt and upset. And Jake taking it lightly, Jake living his best life off of Esau's crashing economy. You know what I mean? Like, it's desperate to show you how gangster it is. They created all these programs to stem out all this money, and then knowing that people was going to commit a lot of fraud. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm in the process of trying to receive unemployment, and they're talking about they're so backed up because they're actually basically trying to weed through the fraudulent cases because it was so many cases of fraud when they first started this. So now it's like extra stipulations. So yeah, that's how you know that this system is over with. That's another just indication. It says, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. You're going to have a lot of people get highly upset. You got a lot of what's that, like mass shootings happening. We just did a video about that last night. It says it was an article said mass shootings is up like by 73%. So yeah, a lot of things that you deal with, like I was calling unemployment, they was basically talking about how if you have any kind of like mental issue, they got a trained psychologist you could talk to, because a lot of people is losing and bugging out. You know what I mean? Right now, and they already had that expected though. And you don't believe that the devil's that conniving, that scandalous, but yeah, because you got to remember, he sits back and he observes and studies things. That's what the whole purpose of these think tanks. Esau actually sits back and does a diligent search on certain things. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And that's going to mean when men going to be going door to door, house to house, to trying to take your goods so they can survive. Because you're going to have, everybody, for the most part, everybody got somebody that they care for. And America's already a dog-eat-dog country. So, you see that just based on the, I did a video about Philadelphia's Kingston Avenue, talking about it's a super skid row. You know what I mean? Like literally, they sitting sleeping on top of the syringes. You know what I mean? You know, because people just out there they lost. You know what I mean? And then you know you supposed to have actually been able to receive a stimulus even if you homeless. But do you really think that them homeless people getting stimulus? I know people that ain't homeless that didn't get no stimulus. So yeah, so that's one of the signs. So all I can say is if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, or be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Kol Haloyim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachakatam. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Aqua, to the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this was an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, and Mawath Lababal. Shalom.